Hi everybody, my name is Brittany. My husband and I just got back from a camping weekend, our first ever camping weekend with our toddler son, which is why it looks like a disaster behind me. I apologize for the state of my apartment. I feel like I say that all the time, but we seem to always be getting back from some kind of adventure and we don't really have a lot of chance to clean up our apartment apparently. Anyway, even though it was our first time ever camping with our little baby, we had a really good time, and I wanted to share what I think are the 5 items that made it so enjoyable for us. A lot of these things you can find on Amazon, so I'll put the links down below. The first thing I'm going to recommend bringing for your toddler is a camping chair. We bring camping chairs for ourselves to sit in around the fire, and even though we had a picnic table at this campground that we went to, it was still really nice to have our own chairs, both for us and for Dory. The original reason we bought this was for traveling. We were in Scotland for 3 months without a high chair, so we used this as a travel high chair. It just sits on top of any other chair and you strap it in. As you know, toddlers have a really independent streak. They want to do everything themselves. Sometimes he didn't want to sit in our camping chairs, he wanted to sit in his own camping chair, which is when this really came in handy. He could also eat his meals on the little tray instead of trying to balance at the big picnic table. The second item that we really liked for this trip was Dory having his own toddler blow-up mattress. So we ended up getting, for the first time ever, a 6-person tent, this big giant tent for us because we usually sleep in this little 2-person tent, just Phil and I, but because we wanted to be more comfortable with a toddler, we got this giant 6-person Coleman tent at Walmart. I'm so happy we did it. It was super comfortable. It fits 2 queen-size mattresses. What we did, our sleep setup, was to blow up 1 queen-size mattress for Phil and I, and then give Dory his own toddler blow-up bed. I believe the brand is Intex, something like that. The reason you want to give toddlers their own mattress, and ideally every person their own mattress, like Phil and I probably should have had our own mattress as well, is because you move around a lot in the night and you don't want to be waking each other up, but you especially don't want to be waking up your baby or toddler on a camping trip because you get so little sleep as it is camping with babies and toddlers. If you are just completely lost with what to pack for your first camping trip with your toddler or with your small kids, I'm going to go ahead and link my camping list down below that I use, my camping checklist for packing. It was super useful. We actually didn't forget anything. I feel like we had absolutely everything we needed on this trip. Pick that up down below. I'll drop it in the description. I can't talk. And don't forget to bring a pump for your air mattress, either a handheld pump or a battery-powered pump, in which case don't forget to also bring extra batteries. The next thing that made our trip so much more enjoyable, this is so important, was to bring activities for him to use both in the car because we had a 12-hour round-trip road trip. You just want to have activities packed. You don't know if it's going to rain and your toddler's going to need to spend a little bit more time inside the tent. For the tent, for being inside the tent in those early morning moments when your baby or toddler definitely wakes up way too early on a camping trip, you want them to have something to do inside the tent. Something my son really liked on this road trip was a pan, like a lasagna pan or a cake pan. They are magnetic. And then I just threw on some magnetic tiles interspersed with magnetic blocks as well. These were a game changer on our road trip. They kept him busy for so long. This is just something you probably already have in your kitchen, and instead of buying like one of those expensive road trip activity tray things that you can get on Amazon, you just use this. The tiles stick to it, and it just offers hours of fun entertainment for your baby. It is so cool. Plus, because it's a deep tray, it's great for other activities as well. So I was handing him Play-Doh, plastic animals, silly putty to play with in this tray on his lap. And it was just great to have things contained in front of him. He still threw things around a little bit. Things still got lost, but not as much because he had this deep dish tray on his lap. It also doesn't have to take up a whole bunch of room in your bag because you can kind of stuff stuff into the tray first and then pack it. A couple of other Amazon items that were big hits on this trip were Water Wow books and rainbow doodle boards. This was both the longest and the best car ride we have ever had with Dory, partly because he's growing up and partly because we just had tons of activities to keep him busy. We also brought his tablet and he's becoming a little bit better at using that. We only let him use the tablet for the car ride, so he gets really excited to use it and he uses it for longer. So if that's something you're considering doing with your kids, I highly recommend it. It's worked out really well for us. We use the kids' Amazon Fire. I'll link it down below, and the games that he's really been into lately are called Endless Alphabet, Toca-Boca Kitchen, and then of course he just likes watching shows on it like Peppa Pig and Daniel Tiger. Okay, and the 4th and 5th things on my list are also very important here. 4th category of things is going to be outside things that we brought. You might think you don't have to bring any sort of outside activities for toddlers because there's the great outdoors, they have rocks and sticks, which is totally true, but I noticed that in some moments it is nice to be able to present present them with some sort of object. If they're upset, especially if there are other kids around and they've been sort of fighting with each other, you just have to like change the mood a little bit. What we brought was a simple soccer ball. We brought a couple of tennis balls. I will recommend, if there's going to be more than one kid with you, to try to bring enough of the objects for every child. So it would have been nice to have 2 soccer balls for 2 almost 2-year-olds because they were fighting over the 1 soccer ball. We also had 1 balance bike with us, which it would have been nice to have 2. They had to learn how to take turns, which is always a great lesson, but a bit of a headache for the parents. Bringing a balance bike is a great idea though. It was a huge hit. Buckets and shovels, simple little things like this that they can put rocks into. Plastic animals that they could play with in the dirt and also make swim in the little puddles because it rained on our trip. And then number 5, so important, is to bring a sound machine and also your baby's other sleep time routine items. If on your camping trip you plan on staying up after your baby goes to sleep in the tent and having a drink and hanging out around the fire, having some adult time, this is going to be really important. We succeeded in doing this both nights actually. I'm very proud of ourselves, but it required sticking to our sleep routine from home and bringing a sound machine. We use this little owl sound machine that we've used on all of our travels. I'll link that down below as well. So on our camping trip, around Dory's bedtime, I took him into the tent. We read some books. I brought a couple books with us. Also very important, don't skip out on the books if that's what you do at home. Read a couple of books in his blow-up air mattress together with the sound machine on. I was able to kind of bundle him up and leave him in the tent and then go sit right outside and have a drink by the fire with adults all chatting, and we weren't bothering him because the sound machine was on. I really just can't recommend this enough. I was nervous about getting him to sleep and to stay asleep because he's never been camping before, but these were the sort of things that helped out a lot. Having his comfort items from home, he uses a binky, he has a blankie, reading a book with him, having the sound machine, it was all very comforting for him, not scary, and it really worked out for us. If you've been camping with your toddler, what sort of items would you absolutely not leave the house without? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.